Welcome back to another presentation by the Sexperts. Today we are going to be discussing gender identity and sexual orientation through the gender unicorn. This graphic was designed by Landon Pan for the TSER, which stands for the Trans Student Educational Resources. The gender unicorn helps break down the differences between gender identity, gender expression, biological sex, and the physical and emotional attraction you have to others. By the end of this video, you will be able to identify how your gender is self-determined internally, the way you express your gender with your appearance, how your biological sex is determined, and who you may be physically and emotionally attracted to. Ultimately, you will experience an increase in self-acceptance, self-esteem, and the acceptance of others. Remember that gender exists on a spectrum, and these spectrums provided for each category will help you determine how you feel about yourself and others. As you may have noticed, this image was already marked as an example of where a person may lie on each of the spectrums, and how they combine to make you the unique individual that you are. This quote was very important to keep in mind. The real goal is to create a culture in which coming out isn't even a thing. Sexuality is an important part of us, but it does not define us. Think more in terms of self-determining rather than self-defining, as defining ourselves as one complete idea holds us back from evolving and living out our fullest potentials as sexual beings. Let's begin by exploring gender identity a bit further. Gender identity is defined as one's internal sense of one's own gender or the gender with which a person identifies. Remember that everyone has a gender identity, whether it's male, female, none of these, both, or another gender. Some people are also agender and either reject the idea of gender or they do not relate to any gender. Gender is more than binary and it can be defined by your emotional thoughts. So if an individual feels that they are not exclusively masculine or feminine, they may identify as non-binary or genderqueer. Your gender identity is self-determined, meaning it cannot be observed from the outside and no one else can determine it for you. As gender identity remains internal, gender expression is the external or physical manifestations of gender. Gender and who you are goes beyond your physical body. However, you can use your appearance to help express your gender by how you walk, talk, your name, pronouns, clothing, hairstyle, behavior, body characteristics, etc. Remember from our last video, we mentioned that sexual binaries are social constructs. Therefore, gender exists outside just men and women, meaning everyone has their own idea of what it means to be or appear masculine or feminine. You get to choose how you present yourself to the world with your own imagination and creativity. This may benefit a trans individual who will often use their gender expression to help them feel more aligned with who they are. However, they may dress more masculine or feminine, or even try to hide certain qualities in order to avoid potential danger, such as sexual assault or sexual harassment. The only category that doesn't have a spectrum yet is sex assigned at birth, or your biological sex. This is the assignment and classification of people as either male, female, intersex, or another sex, and is typically assigned by a doctor or nurse, based on your anatomy, your hormones, and chromosomes. As intersex may not be easily identifiable, many people may have been assigned and labeled the wrong sex at birth. Just because you were assigned a specific gender does not mean that's who you feel you are at your core or how you feel comfortable existing as. A trans individual may struggle with this as their assigned gender and sense of gender identity are not the same. This is where gender expression can become useful to them. When discussing physical attraction, this refers to someone's sexual orientation, which is how a person identifies in relation to the gender or the genders to which they are attracted to. So being a heterosexual, homosexual, etc. Being physically or sexually attracted to someone may be your body's response to others' bodies. Someone who identifies as a gay man usually likes other men. However, this may be a little or a lot more or even less than other genders. Sometimes someone's physical attraction to another is based on solely that person as a whole and not just their specific gender that they are or identify as. The same is true when we explore who we're romantically and emotionally attracted to. This is who we fall in love with. In terms of sexual orientation, Emotional attraction is being attracted to someone's mind or spirit. Your emotional attraction may not match the gender of who you are physically attracted to. Both physical and emotional attraction may depend on another person's assigned gender, gender expression, and/or their gender identity. So after learning all the different aspects of gender, where do you fall in each line? Remember that a person's position on any of these scales can shift or change over time. And it's okay if you don't know where you sit at all. Think about how your gender expression may even change with your environment. If you're with the same sex, if you're alone, if you're at work, out with friends. So make sure you observe your environment and see how you feel in each situation. And finally, note that each of these aspects can change independently. Just because your gender expression changes doesn't mean your gender identity will change or be any different. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check us out on social media. Thanks for watching today, and look out for our next episode in our LGBTQ+ series.